Hello and welcome to my channel, your go-to source for the latest in WWE 24. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for all the updates. Let's dive right in.
Sikoa name-dropped the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, during a segment with the MFTs. He not only apologized for his actions, but there were some clear tensions brewing underneath the surface. In case you missed it, last week on SmackDown, the MFTs would end up losing the WWE Tag Team Championship. R-Truth and Damian Priest became the #1 contenders in a bizarre sequence of events, as Priest wasn't even aware that he was in the mix for a title. Because of his desire for a championship, he went through with it, and soon enough, they ended up dethroning the MFTs to become the new tag team champions. This was, of course, done with the help of the Wyatt Six, who were seeking revenge, as well as the iconic lantern that the late great Bray Wyatt held. Sikoa took accountability for what happened the previous week and apologized to the MFTs. He then said that there was one person who would never have apologized for what he did to the bloodline, and that is Roman Reigns. It was surprising to see Roman Reigns name dropped here, as he has been completely away from Sikoa's story since the January 6, 2025, Raw on Netflix debut. That effectively marked the finale of the Bloodline story, and since then, they have gone on to do different things. In 2025 alone, Solo would recruit JC Mateo and Talatonga, forming the MFT group, a variation of the Bloodline. On top of that, the last few months have been spent feuding with the Wyatt Six, and based on how the tag team title match ended last week, it looks like the rivalry still isn't over yet. So, it will be interesting to see what happens. The lights in the WWE SmackDown arena dimmed to a tense, ominous glow as the familiar beat of Sikoa's theme hit the speakers. The crowd, a mix of boos and scattered cheers, erupted in anticipation. It was March 2026, and the faction wars within the Anoa'i family were reaching a boiling point once again. Sikoa, the self-proclaimed enforcer turned leader of my family tree, better known as the MFTs, strode to the ring with his crew in tow, the towering Tongan allies, face paint gleaming under the spotlights, chains dangling from their necks, and an aura of unyielding Samoan strength. The segment began with an unusual tone for the typically stoic Solo. Last week, frustration had boiled over after a tough loss. Solo had snapped at his own MFTs, blaming them for the setback, his voice laced with the same ruthless edge that once defined his rise under Roman Reigns' shadow. Tonight, he seemed different, more reflective, almost vulnerable. The MFTs stood shoulder to shoulder in the ring, a wall of muscle and heritage, waiting for their leader to address the elephant in the arena. Solo grabbed the mic, his expression serious. The crowd hushed as he began. Last week, I got a little too hot. I said things I shouldn't have said to my own family. To my MFTs. He paused, looking each member in the eye, Talatonga, Tongaloa, JC Mateo, and the others who had stood by him through the chaos of the post-bloodline split. I apologize. That's what a leader does. We make mistakes, but we own them. We fix them for the family. A murmur rippled through the audience. Apologies weren't exactly Sikoa's brand. Under Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, weakness was never shown. The bloodline operated on dominance, acknowledgement, and unbreakable loyalty enforced by fear and respect. Solo had learned that lesson well, perhaps too well. But here he was, extending an olive branch to his crew. The MFTs nodded slowly, some exchanging glances. The tension in the ring was palpable. One wrong word, and the fragile unity could shatter. Solo continued, his voice gaining intensity. My job is to lead this family. To make sure my family tree grows stronger, taller, unbreakable. Not like before. Not fractured. Then came the moment that sent shockwaves through the WWE universe. Solo's eyes narrowed, and he leaned into the mic with a smirk that carried layers of history, resentment, and defiance. You know who would never apologize for what he did to the bloodline? The man who sat at the head of the table like a king. Roman Reigns. The name drop hit like a Samoan spike. The crowd exploded, some chanting Roman. Roman, others booing at the mere mention of the OTC, the original tribal chief. Roman Reigns, the man who had defined an era, the longest reigning champion in modern WWE history, the cousin who had once elevated Solo from enforcer to contender. The same man who had clashed with Solo in brutal matches, tribal combats, and family civil wars that tore the Anoa'i dynasty apart on screen. Solo wasn't done. He paced the ring, mic in hand, building the heat. Roman would never say sorry. He would never show that kind of weakness. He demanded acknowledgement. He built the bloodline on his terms, his way or the highway. And when things didn't go his way, he left bodies in his wake. He made us all bow. But me? I'm not him. I'm building something real here with the MFTs. My family tree. No egos bigger than the family itself. We apologize when we need to. We grow together. The MFTs shifted uncomfortably. One of the Tongans stepped forward slightly, as if testing the waters. The segment crackled with unspoken questions. Was Solo truly distancing himself from Roman's shadow, or was this a calculated move to rally his troops by contrasting his evolved leadership with the old regime? Backstage, the WWE production team knew they had gold. The family drama between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa had been one of the most compelling storylines in years. It began when Roman took time away, leaving Solo to step up. What started as loyalty turned into ambition. Solo seized the Ula Fala, proclaimed himself tribal chief, and rebranded the group after key losses and returns. The MFTs emerged as a harder, more insular version, less polished than Roman's bloodline, more raw Tongan power with face paint, war chants, and zero tolerance for outsiders. Roman's name carried weight because he wasn't just family, he was the benchmark. Fans remembered the epic clashes, Roman's return at SummerSlam, the spear that echoed through arenas, the War Games battles where cousins turned on cousins. Solo had pinned Roman before, but the OTC always found a way back, his aura of inevitability intact. Mentioning him now, in a moment of humility, was genius booking. It reminded everyone that Solo's leadership was defined in opposition to Roman's. As the segment progressed, the tension escalated. One MFT member, perhaps feeling the weight of the comparison, spoke up. Solo, we ride with you. But Roman, he made the bloodline unstoppable. Are we saying we're better without that? Solo's response was fiery. Better? We're different. Roman ruled with fear. I rule with family. He name-dropped acknowledgement like it was a weapon. I name the tree we all grow from, my family tree. If he were here right now, he'd laugh at an apology. He'd demand we acknowledge him instead. But he's not here. This is our ring. Our time. The crowd ate it up. Chants of acknowledge him mixed with MFT. MFT created a chaotic symphony. Security braced as the energy built toward a potential brawl, but the segment stayed verbal, for now. It teased deeper fractures. Would the MFTs buy into Solo's softer approach, or would the lure of Roman's dominant style cause a mutiny? Rumors swirled in wrestling circles about a potential babyface turn for Solo or a full reunion with the Usos and Roman, but this name drop suggested the rivalry was far from over. In the broader WWE landscape of 2026, this moment fit perfectly into the evolving Anoa'i saga. Roman Reigns, after reclaiming his status, had been selective with appearances, focusing on marquee feuds while the younger generation carried the family flag. Solo and the MFTs represented the new guard, hungrier, perhaps more volatile. By invoking Roman, Solo humanized himself while subtly positioning the MFTs as the evolution, adaptable where Roman was rigid, united where the old bloodline had cracked under pressure. Analysts later broke it down as masterful storytelling. Roman's name wasn't just dropped, it was weaponized. It reminded fans of the legacy while pushing Solo's narrative forward. Would this lead to another confrontation? A tag team turmoil involving the MFTs versus Roman's allies? Or a heartfelt family reunion angle that had been teased for months? As the segment closed, Solo dropped the mic and raised his fist with the MFTs. The arena lights flashed red and black, symbolizing the blood ties that bound them. But in the hearts of wrestling fans, one question lingered louder than the cheers: when would Roman Reigns respond? Because in the Anoa'i family, names aren't just spoken, they echo, challenge, and demand acknowledgement. The following weeks on SmackDown built on this foundation. Teasers showed Roman watching the segment on a monitor backstage, a faint smirk on his face, the kind that preceded a spear or a guillotine. Social media exploded with fan theories, Solo trying to be the anti-Roman but can't escape the shadow. MFT versus OTC incoming at the next PLE. This tense exchange wasn't just filler, it was the spark. It highlighted themes of leadership, forgiveness, and familial duty in a world where superstars bleed for the spotlight. Solo Sikoa had name-dropped the biggest name in the game during his most vulnerable moment, turning apology into ammunition. In doing so, he proved that even in apology, the fire of the family feud burned bright. The Bloodline story, or rather the MFT evolution, continued to captivate because at its core, it was about more than titles or wins. It was about identity, who gets to sit at the head of the table, who carries the Ula Fala now, and whether blood truly runs thicker than ambition. Fans tuned in week after week, knowing that one mention of Roman Reigns could shift the entire landscape. The segment ended with Solo and the MFT standing tall, but the shadow of the tribal chief loomed larger than ever. In WWE, family isn't just heritage, it's history in the making, one name drop at a time.